Hi everybody, welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational institutions and companies, helping them support their family wellbeing. And as you know, every week I interview different experts, and today I'm really excited to be interviewing Emma again. Hi Emma.
Hello, my love. So great to be back. Thank you for having me in a coffee
Thank you so
shop
much.
in North Devon with beautiful music.
Amazing. No, I love the music. I think you just inspired me to have a whole new theme with my lives. So can you tell us where you're about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I am a wealth expert. I work for a wealth management fund in North Devon. I've been doing this for the last, for the last 20 years, being in the wealth management industry. But over the last few years, I've also been wealth coaching. I've been, I don't know if the signal went off there.
It's okay. It's not very good signal. We'll just do our best.
We'll do our best. Over the last few years, I've also been doing wealth coaching. So I've been working with entrepreneurs and people in business to help inspire them to manage their wealth, do all the things that they should be doing with their money, time and energy. But I've been moving much more into holistic wealth, realizing that wealth is a vibration, it's an energy, it's an embodiment. So I've been doing lots of things around that as a wealth transformation coach, moving more into as well things like holistic wealth, so breath work, things like that. Yeah.
Amazing. No, I love this topic. We've had so many questions already and comments because it's such a cool topic. It's just a different topic. And I know you're so passionate about this. So you chose today love as a currency, inner wealth versus outer wealth. Can you tell us what that means and why you chose it today?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I gave a talk a couple of weeks ago at Business Fest Southwest, and the whole premise of the talk, one of the things that I've learned over the years as a wealth manager is that it's not about money. Your wealth is not anything outside of you. We are so conditioned to chase after external wealth. And so, you know, we go on and we create things in order to get money. We think once we have it, we're going to feel wealthy. Now, I've worked with a lot of people in the industry, people that have a lot of money, people that have, you know, made it, and they come to me for wealth coaching because they're still not feeling wealthy. They still don't embody the wealth. And whilst I've done a huge amount of work to help people to learn how to save into pensions, invest into the stock market, be savvy with their money, understand their numbers. And that's a huge part of what I do as a wealth transformation coach, especially with entrepreneurs that aren't necessarily doing the right things and feel kind of stressed and anxious that if it all ends, they're not going to have what they need. The biggest gap for me, whilst, you know, because I've worked with a lot of people with a lot of money and I've worked with people that don't have very much money as well, is that the internal state is the part that is really missing. And the more that I do this work, and one of the things that I've learned as I've become a breathwork coach, which helps to work on your inner well-being, your nervous system regulation, the way that you feel about yourself on the inside, is that love isn't about romantic love. Love, that is one state of how we experience love. Love is a vibration. It vibrates at around 500 hertz. And one of the biggest things that is driving us is our state, our inner state, our frequency. And I've been saying for many, many years that your wealth, if you were to put a pin into you and you measure your state, your vibration, it would give you a really clear indication of where your vibe is, where your frequency is, where your energetic body is. And where your energy is dictates how you experience wealth. And that is your measure of your wealth. So if we aspire to look at love and look at the way that we feel from within, it will really dictate how we experience real wealth. And it goes beyond that, because when we work on our inner self, if we feel good on the inside, genuinely feel good from a DNA perspective in the 60 trillion cells that we have in our body, right through to our mindset, which the mind, if we believe we're not worthy of money, if we believe money is evil, if we believe people with money are not good, even when we create a strategy, even when we attract money in, we subconsciously do things to repel it. So the
Yeah.
energetics of our having a healthy mindset that believes that we are good enough, but also embodying that in our DNA, in all of those 60 trillion cells, means that we experience an energetic shift that makes us magnetic. We attract in things where the energy goes, the money flows. And we have to work harder, less hard to make money. We start creating things in our lives from the career choices that we make, from the businesses that we put into the world. Things go out from a place of love. And it sounds really cheesy, but it's what the quantum is also, what scientific evidence is also showing us now. The things that we put into the world, our energy, what we radiate out, really shows in our reality. And it just demonstrates that we then go on and create way better things that society needs, we get paid for, and fundamentally our experience of it is magnified. So the real currency is love.
It's so fascinating, everything that you're saying. And yeah, there's so many things I want to ask you, but we do have a question here on YouTube from Sarah. Hi, Sarah, how are you doing? Thank you for joining. She says, what does it actually mean to treat love like a form of currency?
Yeah, really good question. You think about energy, everything is a currency. So I've worked with many currencies as a trader,
Okay.
where we see money as an exchange. We see energy as exchange. So I used to use money, time, and energy as
Right.
my formula for building wealth. We exchange energy for wealth, we exchange money to grow wealth, we exchange time for wealth. But love is a really embodied frequency. It is a state of measuring energy, actually. So energy can be measured in so many different ways. So your energetic body, if you were to put kind of measure it, is in hertz. So when we're driven, if we're being driven by fear has a frequency of about 20 to 30 hertz. And
Oh,
when we're driven by fear, we're creating things that we feel people need in order to get paid. And it's not often the greatest way to create. It's not the great currency, because everything's in exchange. So someone's going to pay you money in exchange for something, right? And
yeah.
it's just the way of the world. So when we create from a state of love, and we're giving love, and we are at a frequency of love, but we also create what the world needs. When you think of ikigai is a Japanese concept for living a life of joy and purpose. And when you build products based on need, what the planet needs, what you love, and it creates a state of abundance rather than a state of maybe lack and fear. It's seeing love rather than romantic love, but love as an energy. And then that love that goes out, if you are radiating from your heart center, then you are going to be paid in a way of, as a currency, in a way of money, or just adoration, or whatever it is that you seek and desire in exchange for the love that you are putting out there.
Interesting. No, thanks, Emma. Sarah's got another question. She says, how do I know I'm focusing too much on outer wealth?
That is a really good question.
Yes, hard
First,
one.
I'll
Yeah.
probably do my wheel of wealth. I have a wheel of wealth. That's a really good question, actually, because I think it just really taps into some of the deeper meanings of what we feel about wealth. So if you, and that's a really good point. You can never have too much of anything.
Oh, really?
You can't be too much. No. Who says there's too much money in the world, right?
Oh, right.
These
Yeah.
are all mindset shifts. What is too much? Oh, I'm too much because I've got too much energy, or I'm too competitive. No, there's
It's like
nothing.
not enough. You can't be not enough and too much. Yeah, I love that.
Exactly. We're in a world of polarities, and it's anyone's perception, right? So firstly, you can't, the world is limitless. We can print more money. The universe is infinite. there is never going to be too much of anything, but it's how you feel, right? So, the more money you have, if you have all the money in the world, Sarah, you go on and do amazing things with it. The more good people have money, the better the world's going to be, because good people do good things with money, right? But fundamentally, I think it's about kind of going back to that creation aspect of how do you feel at the inside having that money, and how does it kind of make you feel from that embodied perspective, and what do you want, how much money is going to make a difference to you and to your lives around you, and just take it from that benchmark.
Yes, Sarah says thanks. No, I love what you're saying as well, because I know you teach a lot about, I know you did, about money mindset and things like that, don't you? Because, I'm sure you have as well. I've met lots of people, people who have got an abundance of money but think that they're poor, and people who don't have hardly any money but think that they're absolutely fine and they're full of abundance. So, what would you say about that then?
Yeah, because that's attachment. So anything that you are attached to, so if you're attached to money, then you're placing your self-worth, your inner worth, on something that is outside of you. And many people that don't have a lot, I'm going to tell you a really beautiful story in a minute.
Yes, tell us.
But many people that don't have a lot, they tend to be way more influenced by nature and their friends and their connections and their communities. And it's that connection to self. They already feel good enough. Like, I'm good enough, and I don't need lots of money to feel good. However, and this is where the thing is that, it doesn't mean that having more money is going to detract from that, because sometimes people cannot have a lot of money, but then they might, for example, win the lottery, right? And they have so much money coming in, and it changes them, because if they don't feel good inside about receiving money, it can shift them into quite a panic state. So it's always comes down to how you feel about yourself, because if you feel amazing about yourself, even if you have £1 million or you have 1 penny, it's not going to influence how you experience life. Obviously, the more money you have, the more experiences you have. And usually, there is a fine line of how much money do you actually need to live your best life. And I talk about financial freedom, knowing your best life. What is that financial freedom number, and how are you going to go on and create that in order to grow and expand and live your best life and then give back? People that usually, and this is my beautiful story actually, people that usually don't have a lot, they usually also do a lot of charitable work and give back. And that is where people who are of service, and the Buddhist monks talk about this, your dharma. When you're in alignment with your dharma and you're of service, you have this wealth and abundance, and you tend to create things in order to give back. And that's a massive inner fulfillment. So I was in a coffee shop the other day with my 2 little children, Harry and Rose. I was sat there, and these little old ladies that did not have a lot came over to me, and they gave £1 to each of my children. And I said to my mum at the time, I said, they don't have a lot, and they've just given probably a huge amount of their wealth. They are wealthy in my eyes,
Wow. Yeah. No. Yeah. That really makes sense, actually. That really makes sense. So, yeah. No. So you're saying that giving, giving is like receiving.
I don't think and this is it, you don't ever do anything with attachment until, if you go and give £1 because you expect to get £10 back, right?
Yeah.
It's just being, and this is why it's a very embodied state, and this is why I believe in breath work. I've been doing a lot of breath work over my lifetime, actually, but over the last few years I've been training in somatic breath work. So I'm a Soma breath coach.
Oh, wow.
And when you change how you feel about the world and about your energy, and you change the neuroplasticity of your brain to realize that we are conditioned to live in a fear-based society. We're taught to fear everything, fear money, fear love, fear anything that you actually want to experience and attract, but we're taught to fear it, and we drop into this fear state. When we shift our mindset and we realize that not everything's out to get us, and we can live with our neighbors, we start to kind of realize that we want to be of service to the world. We want to give back, but we don't do it. It's non-attachment or law of assumption, like law of attraction, law of assumption. It's doing it because you want that person to be good. If you want to be with a person in a romantic relationship, you do it because you actually want to add value to their lives and you feel good enough on your own. It's like, I want to attract money in because I want to live a good life, I'm gonna deliver this service to the world. And this is why when we launch businesses, we have to feel financially secure in the first place. We might then go on launch a side hustle, right? Because it's not a side hustle. Oh my gosh, I've just noticed the words there. And this is where the negative connotation comes in, right? You're doing it because you want to add value. And when you go out into the world with something that's going to add value to somebody's life or to the community, or you're just giving back just because, let me tell you, when you do that, things come in ways you don't realize it's going to happen, because you're giving out to the universe, you're giving out to the world without any expectations or attachment that it's going to come back. And you do, when you start doing it, and you don't do it because you're coming from a place of expecting someone to give something back, you genuinely shift. And this is why Soma breath and practices that enhance your inner well-being and the person that you are, and you become a better person, right? That you do it from a place of genuine gratitude, that you already love your life, even if your life isn't really maybe where you are, but you're really genuinely embodiedly grateful for the life that you have. It kind of pays you back in ways that you never expect, and the world starts to just look much more beautiful and lovely. Love being that currency, right? That's why the coaching programs that I do now, I have my 8-week wealth transformation, comes with a 22-minute weekly breath practice to embody a different state of beingness, a different identity that I want to embody as a person. I hear it all the time, Jasmine. People say to me, "Oh, you work in wealth. Oh, I didn't expect someone like you to work with money. You're so nice. How can nice people work with money?" I'm like, what?
Yes.
What is your mindset saying about? And that's their mindset. That's their belief system. And then they avoid their pensions because they believe pensions are bad. Pension's just a wrapper that goes around your money. Maybe who's managing it isn't great. Maybe you want to look at that.
All these beliefs. And I guess when you have all these beliefs, you just attract what you're believing anyway. So confirmation
100%.
bias.
That's one of the things that I do when I'm working with people, because I go way beyond money and wealth. I'm a stock trader. I did that for 10 years in London, and I work for an amazing fund where I'm working with pensions and stocks all the time. But the work that I do in my wider world is that I get people to look at what it is that they're being hit with, their karma, right? So, if you're attracting a certain type of person over and over again, maybe it's a certain type of relationship, maybe it's a certain type of client. Why is that? What is the lesson? What are you being taught? All of it teaches you something. And it's because there is an inner belief about yourself that you need to look at and kind of go, okay, if I keep attracting clients that don't pay me, for example, right? Where am I not paying myself? Ask you that question. Where am I not showing up for me? If someone ghosts you, right? How am I ghosting myself? What am I doing?
I love that. That's so powerful.
It's a really great reflection. Life is a big mirror.
Oh yeah. The world is your mirror. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's funny, I know that, but now you've just said it in another way. It's just made me realize it on another level. I think that's why we always need to have these conversations, don't we? Because even though
Yeah.
there's things but it's how deep do you know these things? It's
And we're never done. We came here for
never
soul
done.
school. This experience is all about it, and this is one of the things we feel like. And with wealth, this is a really important point. We're always chasing after the next thing. We always want that next. When I get that client, when I get that promotion, then I'm going to feel good enough. It's a journey, and it's about the now moment. And it's sometimes really hard to drop into
So
that
hard. So
now
hard.
moment.
Yeah.
But we're never done. We're here
Never
to
done.
go through all the ups and downs. And when you learn to love the failures, there's no failure. It's just a lesson, because you are
Mm,
living, you're taking risks. Wealth in investing is all about risk taking. Life's a
yes.
big risk. If you don't
Yes.
take risks, if you don't fear heartbreak or fear failure, you're not going to experience the abundance of love. You're not going to experience the abundance of
Mm,
that stock paying off, right? Because you're going to have a load of losers, right, in your stock portfolio. You're going to have 10 companies that fail, but one might make it. And if you don't try, and that's why we hedge as well. We hedge our bets in trading. We might have a bit of gold and silver in the portfolio as well. That's the thing with our business, right? We have to try things out to see what works, just like life. All of it's a big lesson.
wow.
We
It
have to
sounds
be
simple
in the
when you
world
say
to experience the world.
I love this. It sounds simple when you say it. So what small habits can we start implementing straight away? Like how can we start making this shift? So because sometimes the fear can be so much and so overwhelming that we don't even try, but we don't realize we're actually not trying something because it's
And
just
that
like
the
autopilot.
fear is your fear. So if I can
Mm.
give you one tip, is do the 22-minute breath. 22 minutes a day of breath work. It's one of the things that I am happy to share with your community.
Yes, please. That would be great.
22 minutes of breath work. Well, what it does is it calms your nervous system, and
Oh.
it reduces the fear. It reduces the fear. So breathing in and out just rhythmically creates a coherence. And as soon as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, even if you just do this without doing 22 minutes a day, it will drop you out of your stress, fight,
Mm.
flight, and freeze, into a state of rest and digest immediately. So if you feel stressed, just remember to breathe. But the 22 minutes a day breath work, it reminds you, it builds new neurological pathways for you to remember how to breathe. You know how you create habits, small habits, right? It can take a lifetime to form habits, but it
Yes.
usually takes at least 21 days to form a new neurological pathway, and it takes the practice. It's the same with the breath. We've forgotten how to breathe. We've
Oh,
forgotten ancient techniques that the yogis had. We've forgotten. It's not in our neurological pathway, so we're in a constant state of fight, flight, and freeze because our DNA has forgotten how to breathe. So one of the things that I'm doing as part of my wealth practice is reminding people 22 minutes practice a day. You'll remember how to breathe. You'll then
mm.
be in a state of consciousness.
Oh.
When stress hits you and that fear hits you, that I'm not good enough, well, your mindset, your neuroplasticity changes in 22 minutes. So you can form new brain waves, new mindsets that say, I am good enough. I am abundant. I am worthy of love and money and all the things, whatever you
So
want to
you're
breathe.
preparing for when it happens. Oh, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. So you don't just do the breath work when you're feeling stressed or feeling fear. It's not when you're feeling it. It's to prevent, to get your body used to or to recognize.
It rewires your mindset. It rewires your
Okay.
nervous system. So the breath work is a practice that you do when you are alone, right? But
Okay.
what it does do is in the moments of stress, it helps because you already have a calmer nervous system. In the moments of stress, you remember to breathe automatically. You slow down, and your nervous system is going to be far more equipped to stay in maybe less fight, flight, and freeze for longer. You remember to breathe better after you've been in stress. You recover faster. So it transcends your whole day. But then the
Amazing.
practice itself is healing you at deep cellular
Yes.
level.
Oh,
It's
wow.
powerful.
Oh, I love this. No, thank you so much, Emma. We're running out. Well, we have run out of time, but there's just so many more things I want to ask you. We're going to have to do another live. But is
Always here for it.
is there anything else you want to say and tell us before we go? And how can people find you?
People can find me on LinkedIn. I'm sure you'll drop the notes here, or they can find
Yes.
me on YouTube, the Wealth Rebels Show, or
Okay.
on Instagram at the Wealth Rebel.
Amazing. Can you put those links on the post so people can just
I
click on
will.
them? And
Yes.
if you've got any link to this meditation or this breath work, it's not meditation, is it? Sorry, breath work.
Yeah.
Please, if you could share a little bit of it or something, that would be absolutely amazing.
I will.
No, thank you so much, Emma. It's always a pleasure. It wasn't long enough, but I'm sure we'll have to do another one. And yeah, it's lovely to see you. And thank you so much. This
Thank
really
you.
helped me, actually.
Thank you for having me, and I'll see you all really soon.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.